Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're thrilled to have you here as we tackle Sergey Kovalev. Border image size caption Kovalev in 2014 realname Sergey Alexandrovich Kovalev birth date birthplace Kopeysk, Russian SFSR, USSR nationality Russian nickname Krusher weight 5'0" in reach in style Orthodox total wins equal losses draws no contests medaltemplates. Sergey Alexandrovich Kovalyov, born to April 1983, is a Russian former professional boxer who competed from 2009 to 2025. He held multiple light heavyweight world championships, including the WBA Undisputed and IBF titles from 2014 to 2016, and the WBO title 3 times between 2013 and 2019. Nicknamed the Krusher, Kovalev is particularly known for his exceptional punching power, although he describes himself as just a regular boxer. In November 2019, Kovalev was ranked as the world's second best light heavyweight by the Ring magazine, third by BoxRec, and fourth by the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board. In 2014, the Ring named him its Fighter of the Year. The spotlight now falls on early life as we delve deeper into its details. Kovalev was initially interested in ice hockey, but stopped playing after his equipment was stolen from a dressing room. Because his parents could not afford to purchase replacement equipment, he tried other sports. Several months after he stopped playing hockey, he began to practice both boxing and amateur wrestling. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of amateur career and exploring its real-world applications. Kovalev started boxing in 1994 at the age of 11 and made his amateur debut in the 1997 Russian Boxing Junior Championship, where he won a gold medal in the middleweight juniors division. 1 year later, he competed with the seniors and reached the finals, and won the final fight the year after. He competed in the European Championships for the Russian team. In 2004, Kovalev participated in the Russian Senior Championship for the first time, reached the finals, and won the gold medal in the team event. In 2005, he reached the peak of his amateur career and won 2 championships, the first as a champion of Russia and the second as a champion among servicemen. He won the silver medal in the championship for servicemen in 2006. In 2007, he finished third in both the Russian Championship and World Military Games in India. In 2008, Kovalev participated in his final amateur competition and reached the finals, after which he decided to turn professional. Kovalev admitted that he felt forced to leave the national team because of the intense competition between him and other boxers such as Orthodox, to whom he lost. Kovalev finished his amateur career with a record of. Let's now turn our attention to highlights and examine its role within the larger context. 2000 Russian Junior Championships silver medalist at light welterweight. 2001 Russian Junior Championships silver medalist at middleweight. 2004 Russian Championships silver medalist at middleweight, losing to Matt Korobov. 2005 Russian Championships gold medalist at middleweight. 2005 World Military Championships gold medalist at light heavyweight in Pretoria, South Africa. 2006 World Military Championships silver medalist at light heavyweight in Waldorf, Germany. 2007 World Military Championships gold medalist at light heavyweight in Hyderabad, India. 2007 Russian Championships bronze medalist at light heavyweight, losing to Orthodox. 2008 Russian Championships silver medalist at light heavyweight. As we transition, let's shed light on early career and its relevance to our ongoing exploration. Kovalev started his career with a first-round KO of Daniel Chavez at Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. In July 2011, Kovalev won his first North American Boxing Association belt in a 10-round fight with Douglas Otieno from Kenya. His next bout against Grover Young was controversial. During the second round, Kovalev threw a left hook that the referee declared an illegal blow to the back of the head. Due to Young's inability to continue, the fight was declared a technical draw. In his 2011 fight against Roman Simakov of Russia, Kovalev knocked down his opponent in the 6th round. The fight was stopped and Kovalev was awarded a TKO victory. Simakov was taken to the hospital, where he lapsed into a coma and died 3 days later. In 2012, John David Jackson became Kovalev's trainer. Kovalev met Darnell Boone in the ring for the 2nd time and knocked him out in the 2nd round. The win led him to be signed on to Main Events Boxing. On 19 January 2013, Kovalev faced the former World Boxing Association WBO light heavyweight champion Gabriel Campillo. Kovalev took advantage of Campillo's faltering defense and knocked him down with a left hook, one of 3 knockdowns in the round. Get ready for an exciting part as we dive into Kovalev vs. Cleverly. On 17 August 2013, Kovalev fought Nathan Cleverly for the World Boxing Organization WBO light heavyweight title. Kovalev, who knocked most of his opponents out within 3 rounds, threw heavy shots in the 1st round and hurt Cleverly badly in the 3rd round, dropping him twice. Kovalev knocked Cleverly down a 3rd time in the 4th round until the referee intervened. It was the first time Cleverly had been knocked down as a professional. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of title defenses and exploring its real-world applications. On 30 November 2013, Kovalev had his first defense of the WBO light heavyweight title against Ismail Silik, 17 KOS. In round 2, Kovalev dropped Silik, and when Silik could not regain his footing, Kovalev floored him a 2nd time and ended the fight. The fight averaged 1.25 million viewers on HBO. On 29 March 2014, Kovalev defended his title against undefeated Cedric Adden, 13 KOS at the Adrian Phillips Ballroom at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Although Adden was not known to many boxing fans at the time, he won against Yusuf Mack, Daniel Judah, and Otis Griffin. Adden's movement gave Kovalev difficulty at times, but after 3 falls, Adden was finished in the 7th round. The fight drew an average of 1.048 million viewers on HBO. Although the figures were down from the Kovalev vs. Silik bout, the fight was televised at the same time as Wisconsin vs. Arizona, competing to reach the Final Four of the KOS College Basketball Tournament. On to August 2014. Kovalev defended his WBO title against undefeated Australian contender Blake Caparello, 6 KOS at the Revel Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it was televised on Boxing After Dark. Kovalev hoped for a unification fight against WBC champion Adonis Stevenson, but Stevenson stated he would only fight on Showtime. As Kovalev was contracted to HBO, he had to fight Caparello instead. Caparello scored a flash knockdown after catching Kovalev with a solid shot while Kovalev was off balance. Kovalev, however, was unhurt and even appeared enraged, and beat Caparello in a 2nd round technical knockout. The fight was watched by an average of 990,000 viewers and peaked at 1.052 million. Kovalev's victory allowed him to fight Bernard Hopkins in the fall of 2014. Main Events spokesperson Kathy Duva believed there was a loss of focus due to building pressure, which was why Kovalev was dropped by Caparello. Kovalev shrugged off any claims that he felt pressure, saying, "I didn't think about Bernard Hopkins tonight. I was focused on this fight. It is very important. A big step for me. If I do not win the fight, there is no fight with Bernard Hopkins." Lou DiBella, a promoter of Caparello, praised Kovalev, particularly the body shot that ended the fight. Negotiations for the Hopkins fight began prior to the Caparello fight. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding Kovalev vs. Hopkins as we navigate its intriguing terrain. On 8 November 2014, Kovalev and Hopkins, 32 KOS, fought in a unification bout at the Boardwalk Hall. The fight was televised on HBO World Championship Boxing. Kovalev defeated Hopkins by unanimous decision to retain the WBO light heavyweight title and win the WBA Super and IBF titles. In a one-sided fight, Kovalev knocked Hopkins down in the 1st round, and won every single round on all of the 3 judges' scorecards. The score totals of the fight were, and in round 12, Kovalev landed 38 punches on Hopkins, the most any boxer had ever landed on him in a single round in his 41 fights recorded by CompuBox. Hopkins earned $1 million whilst Kovalev earned $500,000. Kovalev said after the fight, "I'm very happy. This victory was for my son Alexander." The fight was considered successful, as it was watched by an average of 1.3 to 8 million viewers. Moving on to the next segment, we have Kovalev vs. Pascal. On 14 March 2015, Kovalev defended his world titles and fought Jean Pascal, 17 KOS for the WBC Diamond Light Heavyweight title at the Bell Center in Montreal live on HBO. Kovalev had just been named Sports Illustrated's 2014 Fighter of the Year. In the 8th round, the referee stopped the fight as he felt Pascal was badly injured. However, Pascal felt the interruption was unfair and demanded a rematch. At the time, Kovalev led on all 3 judges' scorecards. The fight averaged 1.152 million viewers on HBO. As we progress, let's shine a spotlight on Kovalev vs. Mohammadi and examine its intricate interplay within our topic. On 25 July 2015, Kovalev fought French boxer Najib Mohammadi, 23 KOS at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Kovalev knocked Mohammadi down once in the 2nd round and again in the 3rd round. The 2nd knockdown ended Mohammadi's night and gave Kovalev his 25th knockout victory. Kovalev said in the post-fight interview, "I wanted more rounds. I wanted him to look like a clown. I wanted him to look foolish. I'm very happy that I got the victory," Kovalev said. "I gave my best. I am happy. I told him to stand up. It was a short show. People didn't see boxing." Abel Sanchez, Mohammadi's trainer, believed his boxer was overwhelmed with being on the main event and feeling pressured. Kovalev earned $750,000 and Mohammadi earned a career-high $270,000. The fight was seen by just over 1 million viewers on HBO. Duva stated that Kovalev was looking for a homecoming bout next, likely on 28 November in Moscow, and stated she would call promoter Ivan Michel to set up a fight with 2-time Olympian Artur Beterbiev, 9 KOS, who defeated Kovalev in the amateurs. The fight was unlikely to happen as Beterbiev was advised by Al Heyman and performed on Premier Boxing Champions, who were banned by HBO. In this section, we'll be deep diving into Kovalev vs. Pascal Shilmba, unraveling its complexities and uncovering valuable insights. Kovalev had a rematch with Pascal on 30 January 2016 at the Bell Center in Montreal on HBO. Pascal was pumped for the rematch, stating it would turn out differently to the first fight. "I put him down in the 8th round in the first fight, but called it a slip. But I promise you that Kovalev is going to have a full plate in the rematch. I'm going to have a full plate as well, but I have a new trainer. I'm going to teach him respect and to respect Canadian boxing fans." Kovalev dominated the fight, both outpunching and outlanding Pascal by wide margins. Kovalev won when Roach refused to let Pascal continue after the 7th round. During the pause, the scorecards read 3 times in favor of Kovalev. Round 5 was scored on all 3 judges' cards without a knockdown. After the round, Roach threatened to pull Pascal. According to CompuBox stats, Kovalev landed 165 of 412 punches, 40%, and Pascal landed 30 of 108 blows, 28%. After the fight, Kovalev said his future plans would likely include a fight with former super middleweight champion Andre Ward, but he first wanted a unification bout with reigning WBC and recognized Adonis Stevenson, a lineal champion. Kovalev called Stevenson Adonis Chickenson during the post-fight interview. Stevenson, who was in attendance, responded by confronting Kovalev in the ring surrounded by 3 bodyguards. The fight averaged 1.179 million viewers on HBO and peaked at 1.269 million viewers. Kovalev had a warm-up fight on 11 July against Isaac Chilmer, 10 kos in Ekaterinburg, Russia, at the Palace of Sports. It was the first time in 5 years that Kovalev returned to Russia for a fight to defend his WBA Super, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles. Chilmer was known for having a similar style to Ward. Kovalev tipped the scales at Earls, while Chilmer weighed in at Earls. Kovalev earned a unanimous points decision after a hard-earned battle. The 3 judges at ringside scored the fight, and at the end of 12 rounds in favor of Kovalev, who retained his titles. In round 7, Chilmer staggered across the ropes and was down by a straight left with a right to the jaw. The fight aired live on HBO and averaged 355,000 viewers. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of Kovalev vs. Ward and exploring its real-world applications. On 16 June 2016, it was announced that a contract had been signed between Kovalev and Ward, 15 kos, and that the match would take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on 19 November 2016. Both fighters remained undefeated through interim bouts. Kovalev lost a closely contested controversial decision, with all the judges scoring the fight in favor of Ward. Larry Merchant stated after the fight, "It was a classic hometown decision. Kovalev won the fight." Gareth Davies, boxing correspondent, gave the fight to Kovalev with, as did Matt Kellerman. Duva said, "We got a great fight, which is what boxing needed. But we also got a bad decision, which is not what boxing needed." Many boxing experts have applauded the decision. Hoi Malinagi noted the high degree of difficulty both fighters faced that night and doubted the prospect of a one-sided affair in the case of a rematch, though he concluded that Kovalev faded late in the fight. Promoter Eddie Hearn added that Kovalev lacked a sense of urgency after the halfway point. Gennady Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, noticed how Kovalev allowed Ward on the inside and as a result was worn down. For the fight, Kovalev received a minimum of $2 million and Ward a career-high $5 million. CompuBox stats showed that Kovalev landed 126 of 474 punches, 27%, and Ward landed 116 out of 337 thrown, 34%. The fight was reported to have accomplished 160,000 buys on HBO PPV. A replay was shown on HBO prior to the Lomachenko-Walters title fight, which averaged 834,000 viewers. The event produced a live gate of $3.30 million from 10,066 tickets sold, including complimentary tickets. The full attendance was announced as 13,310. The venue was set up to hold 14,227. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze Kovalev vs. Ward II from different angles and evaluate its significance. Kovalev's manager Aegis Climbers announced that negotiations had begun for the rematch between Ward and Kovalev. According to the NSAC, the T-Mobile Arena was reserved for 17 June 2017 on HBO PPV. On 24 March 2017, Kovalev revealed on social media that he had signed his end of the deal. It was also noted that the rematch would take place at the Mandalay Bay in Paradise, Nevada, on HBO PPV. On 4 April, Rock Nation Sports and Main Events confirmed that terms were agreed for the rematch to take place on HBO PPV. The fight was billed as No Excuses. The Las Vegas Sun confirmed the bout would take place at the Mandalay Bay Events Center. On 10 April, Duva said that there would be no rematch clause in place for a third fight, which meant the winner would not be obliged to fight another rematch. The fight purses were revealed before the fight, with Ward taking a guaranteed $6.50 million and Kovalev not having a base purse, receiving a percentage of PPV and gate revenue. The fight ended in the 8th round with Ward's victory. At the end of the match, 2 judges had Ward ahead whilst the 3rd judge had it in favor of Kovalev. CompuBox stats showed that Ward landed 80 of 238 punches, 34%, whilst Kovalev landed 95 of his 407 thrown, 23%. Ward commended Kovalev in the post-fight interview. "He's a good fighter, and I have nothing but respect for him. First time around, the man is world champion, and he's been on top a long time. I give him credit. He's a great fighter, and when you fight great fighters, you have to raise your game." Kovalev said the fight could have continued. "I don't know. I can't explain it. Not every round, but I thought I was doing very good. I was better, and he was better this fight. I didn't feel like I was getting knocked down with his punches. I could have continued," Kovalev said. "I didn't feel the punch. This is fighting. We are boxers. Yes, he did punch me, but he didn't hurt me. The fight should have continued." According to Yahoo Sports, the fight generated around 130,000 buys on HBO PPV. The replay was shown on regular HBO, which averaged 752,000 viewers and peaked at 947,000 during the final round. The event produced $2,187,340 from 6,366 tickets sold, including complimentary tickets. The number of attendees was announced to be 10,592. Kovalev spoke to reporters in Russia on 27 June 2017 and confirmed that he would be making changes to his team, which included a new head trainer, meaning he would part ways with John David Jackson, and a new specialist. Due to having issues making the light heavyweight limit, Kovalev considered moving up to cruiserweight. Reports also suggested that Ward's trainer, Virgil Hunter, offered his services to Kovalev. On 26 October, Kovalev announced he brought Tursun Pilatov as his new trainer. Tursun Pilatov was most known for training and developing amateurs, such as the 2016 Rio Olympic gold medalist Fazlidin Gaidnazarov. Moving on to the next segment, we have Kovalev versus Shabransky. On 25 November, Kovalev appeared on Boxing After Dark against light heavyweight contender Vyacheslav Shabransky, 16 KOS, in a scheduled 10-round bout that took place at the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Kovalev spoke about his consecutive defeats. "I learned a lot from my fights with Andre Ward. When you don't win and when you suffer adversity, it makes you stronger. It also shows you who your real friends are. I feel like I cleaned out my life and now I'm ready to start fresh. I'm very excited to get back in the ring and fight at Madison Square Garden for the first time, and I'm focused on the future. I'm not looking back." Kovalev told Ring that he would not have a lead trainer for the fight. On 12 October, Main Events asked the WBO to sanction the fight for their vacant title following Ward's retirement from boxing. At the time, Shabransky was not ranked by WBO in their top 15. On 26 October, WBO decided to sanction the fight, also meaning the fight would now be a 12-round bout. On 15 November, the International Boxing Association announced that they would be sanctioning the fight for their vacant light heavyweight title. The IBA title was last held by Bibet Shumanov until he lost to Hopkins in April 2014. Due to Hopkins not paying their sanctioning fees, the title remained vacant. Kovalev regained the WBO title after stopping Shabransky in round 2. Kovalev knocked Shabransky down 3 times during the fight before it was stopped. Speaking to Max Kellerman of HBO, Kovalev said, "I did it. I worked really hard. Mentally, physically, I'm back. It's my goal to be the best in the division. Last fight I was stopped. It was a decision by the referee. Here tonight was great boxing for me and I love boxing and I am here to make great fights." He also went on to say that he would like unification fights going forward. CompuBox showed that Kovalev landed 50 of 113 punches, 44%. This included 25 of 36 power shots in round 2 and Shabransky landed 16 of 71 thrown, 23%. According to Nielsen Media Research, the fight averaged 869,000 viewers and peaked at 900,000 viewers. As we transition to the next segment, let's unravel the mysteries surrounding Kovalev versus Mikhalkin and gain a fresh perspective. Immediately after defeating Shabronsky, Kovalev stated that he would return to the theatre on 3 March 2018 in the hopes of joining a unification fight with belt holders Artur Beterbiev IBF, Dmitry Bivol WBA, and Stevenson WBC. On 18 December, ESPN reported a deal was close to being made for Kovalev to defend his WBO title against IBO title holder Igor Mikhalkin, 9 KOS, who was on a 10-fight win streak. The fight took place on 3 March 2018 at the theatre at Madison Square Garden on HBO. Initially, Mikhalkin was in talks with contender Marcus Browne for a final eliminator. Kovalev retained his world title and defeated Mikhalkin via TKO in round 7. After the fight, Kovalev said, "This was better work for me than my last fight. It may have looked easy, but it was not easy tonight." According to CompuBox, Kovalev landed 186 of 525 punches, 35%, and Mikhalkin landed 43 of his 275 thrown, 16%. The fight averaged 599,000 viewers and peaked at 674,000 viewers. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting Kovalev vs. Eleider Alvarez and exploring its implications in greater detail. On 18 March, a deal was made for Kovalev to defend his WBO title against Browne at the Hulu Theatre at Madison Square Garden on HBO. A date as early as 23 June was discussed but not finalized. On 6 April, Browne was arrested for domestic violence, and on 18 April, Kovalev announced he would instead fight longtime WBC mandatory Eleider Alvarez, 11 KOS, in the summer of 2018 instead. Michel, promoter for both Alvarez and Stevenson, was unable to come up with an agreement for a step-aside fee for Alvarez to allow Stevenson to fight Budao Jack in May 2018. Alvarez's manager Stefan Lipini then contacted Main Events for a possible fight. On 4 August, the fight took place at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The arena was a sellout with a crowd of 5,642 in attendance. In a shocking upset, Alvarez won the fight via TKO in round 7 to claim the WBO title. Kovalev was knocked down 3 times in the 7th round before the fight was stopped. For the first 6 rounds, Kovalev fought well. He used his jab and landed right hands on the outside. Kovalev headed into round 7 ahead on the scorecards, but was caught and dropped hard by a 1-2 combination. He beat the count, but instead of trying to hold Alvarez in a clinch, he attempted to brawl, only to be dropped a further 2 times. Referee David Fields decided to stop the bout, with the time of stoppage at 2:45 of the round. Alvarez was detaining himself to the midway point of the fight before letting off some power shots. Alvarez explained that part of the game plan was to wait for Kovalev to tire. After the fight, Duva confirmed there was a rematch clause in the contract, but was unsure if the rematch would take place straight away. Kovalev was hospitalized as a precaution. He thanked his fans for their support and hinted at retirement. Through a translator, Alvarez said, "Words cannot describe how I feel. I want to thank God and all my fans in Canada and Colombia. This was all for them. It was a 2-punch combination that I have been throwing my whole career, and we worked on it in camp. I have always practiced that in camp, and we thought it would work in this camp." Kovalev was taken to hospital following the loss. He said in a video statement, "I feel okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much to all the fans around the world for your support. I love you, and I'm fine." Duva also noticed that Kovalev appeared to gas around the middle of the fight. According to CompuBox, through the 7 rounds, Kovalev landed 91 of 339 punches thrown, 27%, and Alvarez landed 73 of his 251 thrown, 29%. Round 4 was the busiest of either boxer, where Kovalev landed 29 of 82 shots, 25 of which were power shots. The fight averaged 731,000 viewers on HBO, peaking at 813,000 viewers. an increase from Kovalev's last fight. In this section, we'll be shedding light on Kovalev versus Eleider Alvarez II and its impact on our understanding of the subject. On 25 August, Kovalev said he would exercise the rematch clause. According to the contract, the fight needed to occur by February 2019. Early talks indicated the rematch would take place in December 2018. A stumbling block appeared when HBO confirmed they were not fully committed to airing a rematch between the two fighters. Duva stated at any point competing networks could bid on the bout, but all HBO needed to do was match the highest bid to broadcast the fight. On 14 September, it was announced that ESPN would broadcast the rematch. The fight took place on 2 February 2019 at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Kovalev worked with his new trainer Buddy Migurt for the bout, ending his 3-fight run with Tursun Pilatov. Before a crowd of 4,877, Kovalev fought the perfect fight and put on a performance to regain the WBO title after defeating Alvarez via unanimous decision after 12 rounds. Alvarez won some of earlier rounds, however once Kovalev settled into a rhythm and using his jab, he was able to keep Alvarez at range, which he continued to do so for the remainder of the fight. Kovalev had better conditioning in the rematch, with the main difference being instead of going toe-to-toe, he focused more on boxing. He fought smart and avoided clinches. Alvarez did his best to try and slug it out, using holds and headlocks. It was the corner advice from Buddy Migurt which really helped Kovalev stay focused between rounds. Kovalev slowed down the pace in the middle rounds. He appeared tired, but got his second win in the championship rounds to finish the fight strong. The judges scored it, and for Kovalev. Following the fight, Kovalev said, "My goal was to box. He was looking for the big punch, but I kept boxing. The only time I got hurt was when I got a thumb in my eye." Alvarez had no excuses, but felt if it came down to a decision, he would have lost. Alvarez did not feel like he lost the fight, but accepted the decision. According to CompuBox, Kovalev landed 213 of 816 punches thrown, 26.1%, and Alvarez landed 111 of his 369 punches thrown, 30%. Kovalev outlanded Alvarez in 11 out of the 12 rounds. Alvarez's promoter Ivan Michel faulted the team's strategy going into the rematch, feeling confident in stopping Kovalev, much like the first fight. Alvarez later admitted he was too focused on knocking out Kovalev. He said, "It was not my night. I admit that I tried to knock him out. That was my plan, but things did not work out. I wanted to end it before the 12th round, but it didn't happen." He was scheduled to take a few days away from training but called for a trilogy fight. According to Kathy Duva, the rematch did not have the same feel as the first fight, thus not warranting a third fight. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore Kovalev versus Yarde from a different angle. On 2 April 2019, the WBO ordered Kovalev to defend his world title against British challenger Anthony Yarde, 17 costs. A 30-day negotiation period was given to both parties. A purse bid would be a split in favor for Kovalev. On 2 April, a purse bid was scheduled only to be postponed to allow negotiations to continue. On 18 April, WBO President Peko Valcárcel stated terms were agreed for the fight to take place. Yarde reportedly signed his contract on 11 May, awaiting an announcement for the fight, scheduled in Russia. On 5 June, Yarde's promoter Frank Warren hit out at the organizers as the fight had yet to be announced. Kathy Duva said the organizers in Russia wanted to hold off the fight until August 2019. This was not being agreed by Yarde and his team, and a solution was requested. The WBO then scheduled a new purse bid for 11 June, only to be postponed to 24 June after both teams again attempted to make their own deal. On 12 July, after months of negotiations, the fight between Kovalev and Yarde was formally announced by the Russian Boxing Federation to take place at Tractor Ice Arena in Kovalev's hometown of Chelyabinsk, Russia. Yard told the press, "This is my time now and I am going to show the world what I am all about. I am more than happy to achieve my goal in Russia, and I think it is only right that a great world champion such as Kovalev is given the opportunity to defend in his home country. He has earned that right." Frank Warren was confident in Yard being victorious and stated that it was a key reason as to allowing the fight to take place in Russia. On 25 July, it became known that Kovalev was negotiating a deal to fight Saul Alvarez in October 2019, in a fight that would see Alvarez make his light heavyweight debut. There was reports implying the fight with Yard would be scrapped if Golden Boy Promotions and Main Events successfully negotiated a deal. Alvarez was ordered by the IBF to defend the title against Sergey Derevyanchenko. John Skipper, who was DAZN's executive chairman, where Alvarez was tied into a contract, stated the streaming service would only approve Kovalev or a trilogy fight with Gennady Golovkin as Alvarez's next fight. According to Aegis Climbers, an agreement was in place for Kovalev to fight Alvarez if he was to defeat Yard. On 8 August, Alvarez decided to wait until after Kovalev's fight with Yard to decide his next opponent. Yard revealed he was approached multiple times for step-aside offers. He was first offered less than his purse for the Kovalev fight, then offered the same amount. Yard joked that these offers needed to be more than double his purse for him to consider stepping aside. During fight week, Kovalev spoke to reporters to explain the reason why he turned down a last-minute 8-figure offer from Alvarez was due to the Yard fight only being 3 weeks away. Tickets were already on sale and being sold. Also the matter that Kovalev was defending his world title in front of his own fans in his hometown, having fought the majority of his career in the United States. Speaking to Steve Bunce, Kovalev said he wanted 5 more fights and a chance to become undisputed champion. Yard made it his mission to win the fight by knockout and ruin Kovalev's plans to fight Alvarez. After 11 rounds, Kovalev knocked out Yard, ending the fight via TKO and retaining his WBO and ESP light heavyweight titles. Yard seemed comfortable in the early rounds, staying out of range and keeping Kovalev at bay with speed and movement. After 6 rounds of an even, back-and-forth contest, Yard began landing hooks to Kovalev's body in the 7th and 8th rounds that appeared to hurt him. In the last minute of the 8th, Yard landed a straight right to the head of Kovalev which had him in trouble. Yard followed up with a salvo of power punches but was unable to capitalize, allowing the visibly hurt Kovalev to stay on his feet for the remainder of the round. After this success, Yard appeared tired and lose momentum, allowing Kovalev to take control of the fight with combination punches and stiff jabs that began to frequently land on Yard. The 10th round saw much of the same. In the final 20 seconds of the 9th round, Yard was seemingly saved by the bell, which appeared to ring 8 seconds before the end of the round. In round 11, sensing Yard's fatigue, Kovalev upped the pressure and increased his punch output, eventually dropping Yard with a spearing left jab to win the fight by knockout. At the time of the stoppage, all 3 judges had Kovalev ahead with the scorecards reading, and, according to CompuBox, Kovalev landed 223 of his 686 punches 32.5% while Yard landed 132 of his 575 punches 23%, the most punches any fighter has landed on Kovalev. After the fight, Kovalev praised Yard for his toughness, saying that Yard will 100% become a world champion one day. Buddy McGirt was close to stopping the fight after 8 rounds. Kovalev pleaded with him to allow the fight to continue as he believed Yard was beginning to tire. McGirt believed Yard only got more confidence in the fight as Kovalev became lazy. After the fight, McGirt approached Yard's locker room and told him, "You surprised me." Kovalev was now ready for his next challenge. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind Kovalev vs Canelo Alvarez and gain a deeper understanding. Less than 3 months after beating Yard, Kovalev faced unified middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez on 2 November 2019, who made his debut in the light heavyweight division. After a competitive first 10 rounds in which Kovalev found success with his jab, Alvarez threw a left hook, straight right combination to stop Kovalev in the 11th round. After the fight, Kovalev suggested that he had always been unlikely to win the fight due to the grueling schedule of back-to-back training camps which resulted from the short period of time between the Yard and Alvarez fights, but had agreed to fight the latter regardless due to the high financial incentive, which was reported to be $12 million, £9 million. Alvarez responded by calling Kovalev a bad loser. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of cancelled fights versus Barrera and Melikhachev and discovering its transformative power. In December 2019, it was reported that Kovalev was offered a fight in Russia in 2020. There were talks of a showdown between Kovalev and light heavyweight contender Sullivan Barrera, 14 cost to take place in April and May. Barrera had already signed his contract for the fight, which would be broadcast on DAZN. On 4 March, the fight was confirmed to take place at a catchweight of 180 pounds over 12 rounds. The Athletic's Mike Coppinger reported the card would take place at Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California under Golden Boy Promotions. This was due to Golden Boy owing Kovalev $2.50 million comeback fight following his defeat to Canelo. During the promotion of the fight, Kovalev stated, "I am happy to get back in the ring and to be on my way back to World Championship bouts. Barrera is a Cuban fighter and, even though I never faced any Cuban fighters as a professional, back in amateur days it was always Russian boxers competing with Cuban boxers, so I'm looking forward to remembering my amateur boxing." Barrera said, "This will be the most important fight of my career because I have always pursued a fight with Sergey Kovalev." Barrera was previously promoted by Kathy Duva's Main Events, which meant a fight between the two was always foreseen. Not long after the fight was made official, the card was postponed, along with many other boxing events due to the coronavirus pandemic. At this time, Golden Boy were unable to offer a new date due to the uncertainty of the pandemic and how it would affect sports in the coming months. The fight with Kovalev was a proposed 2-fight plan for Barrera. He anticipated a win over Kovalev would earn him a world title fight for him to then retire from boxing. Barrera was still in the gym training and joked that he hoped Kovalev had not picked up a bottle. In November, it was reported the fight could be rescheduled to 30 January 2021. On 16 December, it was announced that Kovalev would return to the ring on 30 January. However, instead of fighting Barrera, he would return to Moscow at the Luzhniki Arena against 24-year-old Uzbek prospect Bektemir Melikhachev, 5 KOS on DAZN. Melikhachev previously fought at super middleweight. The fight was set for a contractual weight of 178 pounds. On the fight taking place in his home country, Kovalev said, "I am glad that after a long break I am starting my journey back to the title of world champion. The fact that this fight is scheduled to be in Russia gives me even more motivation and strength." Melikhachev showed respect towards Kovalev, calling him one of the biggest boxing stars of the last decade. With only 2 weeks until fight night, the card was moved to Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California, without any fans in attendance. According to one source, the move was done due to health and safety concerns, which meant everyone involved would not have to travel. It was also reported the card would take place in the afternoon on the West Coast, so it would be broadcast during prime time in Russia. On 14 January, Kovalev tested positive for synthetic testosterone, putting the fight in jeopardy. The test showed external testosterone and metabolites. Melikhachev put out a tweet stating, "It makes no difference to me. Just put him in the ring, let us fight regardless." All camps were notified by VADA on 13 January. The fight was officially cancelled a day later. Kathy Duva released a statement saying Kovalev has always proven to be a clean fighter and will continue to prove this. The test, which came back positive, was administered on 30 December 2024. A week later, it was reported that a second test, which was conducted on 7 January 2021, also came back as a positive test for synthetic testosterone. In this section, we'll be peeling back the layers of Cruiserweight to reveal its true essence. In January 2022, Kovalev was rumored to make his Cruiserweight debut on Triller Fight Club against former light heavyweight contender Meng Fanlong, 10 KOS, with the event taking place on 12 March. It was scheduled to be the headline for the card. Fanlong was coming off a unanimous decision win over Israel Dufus in October 2021. Kovalev revealed his plans to challenge for a Cruiserweight world title within 3 to 4 fights and to then retire from boxing. The agreement with Golden Boy Promotions to promote his next bout had now gone to arbitration according to Aegis Climbers. He did not confirm whether the failed drugs test voided the agreement. On 4 March, it was reported the card would take place at the Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles with a new date of 14 May. 4 days later, Fanlong pulled out of the fight, citing Triller were dragging its feet and opted to fight former world champion Jean Pascal instead. Kovalev was still slated to headline the Triller PPV, however now against Turbulpulov, 13 KOS, brother of heavyweight contender Kubrat, who was also scheduled to appear on the card. The card, titled Triller vs. 5, Lineage of Greatness, was officially announced to take place at the Forum. Kovalev planned to weigh below the Cruiserweight limit. During fight week, he admitted he had concerns over his long layoff. Brace yourself for a deep dive into Kovalev vs. Pulev as we explore its impact and relevance in our evolving narrative. After a 31-month layoff, Kovalev outworked Pulev over the 10-round distance, winning via unanimous decision with the scores of, and to give Pulev his first professional defeat. Kovalev used his hard jab to control the majority of the action. This began to frustrate Pulev. Kovalev started landing hard combinations during the middle rounds. Pulev tried his best to counter. His trainer Buddy McGirt insisted that he stick to the game plan of jab and keeping a distance, which was key towards the victory. After the fight, Kovalev spoke about the ring rust and wanting to keep busy. He said, "I'm just going to keep in shape after this fight. We'll rest 1 week and then get back in the gym." I worried how it was going to be in the fight. Of course, there was some ring rust. Without boxing at a high level for over a year, my body doesn't like this. I want to fight every 3 or 4 months. Kovalev preferred one more fight at this level before moving on to world level again. On 1 June, it was reported that Triller had not paid Kovalev and both Pulev brothers for the event. Jerry Forrest, who lost a decision to Kubrat Pulev, had received a partial payment. Triller Fight Club President David Tatro told all parties involved the purse payments would be postponed up to 75 days until they settled with a deadline of 31 May 2022. According to the contracts, Kovalev was guaranteed a minimum $500,000 purse. On 31 January 2023, the WBC ordered a semi-final eliminator between Kovalev and South African former 2-time world title challenger Thabiso Mchunu, 13 KOS, with a deadline set for 24 February. Mchunu was on a 4-fight win streak since his disputed split decision loss to world champion Ilunga Makabu. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards Kovalev vs. Safa. The fight failed to materialize and Kovalev sat out the remainder of 2023 without a fight. On 11 January 2024, it was reported that Kovalev would make another long-awaited ring return against Swedish boxer Robin Safa, 12 KOS, who was fighting out of Las Vegas, on the Fury vs. Usyk undercard on 17 February in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. After an injury occurred elsewhere, the whole card was moved to 18 May 2024. Safa outworked and broke down Kovalev throughout the fight, eventually dropping him in the 10th and final round on his way to a unanimous decision win. The 3 judges scored the bout, and in favor of Safa. Kovalev started the fight with his trademark jab, whilst Safa aimed for the body. Kovalev stumbled after being hit on the chin in round 3. During the middle to late rounds, Safa was outlanding Kovalev. In the final round, Safa landed a left-right combination to Kovalev's chin, dropping him for an 8 count. Let's now enter the realm of retirement fight and discover the fascinating stories it has to tell. It was announced on 6 March 2025 that Kovalev would take part in a retirement fight in his home city of Chelyabinsk, Russia against German boxer Artloman Kos. The bout was scheduled for 19 April, in a 10-round bout. Man was coming off a knockout win over Ion Mihai Dizrabitu in November 2024, having previously lost to top contenders Kevin Lerena and Marius Briedis in his career. Kovalev explained how the fight with Man was made. He said, "I know nothing about him, but I was given the choice of 5 or 6 opponents and I chose him. He has the most technique, he's the most dangerous and the best boxer. Other guys were very amateur-like." He also stated his reason to retire was mainly due to inactivity, having only fought twice since his 2019 stoppage loss to Canelo Alvarez. Had Kovalev been more active during this time, he was more open to continuing his career. Kovalev was not in favor of having big gaps between fights. During fight week, Kovalev was asked what he would do in retirement. He replied, "What am I going to do? I don't know. I'm going to be busy with my kids. Have fun, like, enjoy my life." He reiterated his stance on his retirement. The fight was streamed live for free on YouTube and Facebook from Boxing News. Kovalev finished his 16-year career at the Unost Arena with a 7th-round TKO win over Man. In the second round, Man was dropped from a short left. He beat the count, but was visibly hurt and got through a barrage of heavy punches. He was dropped again at the end of the round, but this was ruled a slip. Man did well in the 3rd and 4th rounds, tagging Kovalev with short punches, but at the same time on the receiving end of stiff jabs from Kovalev, which opened up a cut over his right eye. The ending came after Kovalev landed a left-right-left combination, dropping Man. He beat the count, but seeing he was unsteady legs, his corner stopped the fight. The official time of stoppage was 12:49 of round 7. The knockout was the 30th in his career and his record improved to 36 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of major world titles in this section. WBA Undisputed and Super Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds, IBF Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds, WBO Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds. As we progress, let's shine a spotlight on minor world titles and examine its intricate interplay within our topic. IBF Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on regional international titles. NABA Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds, ABCO Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds, EBP Super Light Heavyweight Champion 175 pounds. Our focus now turns to honorary titles, an important aspect of our discussion. WBC Diamond Light Heavyweight Champion, WBO Super Champion. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of felony assault charge and explore its various aspects. On June 9, 2018, Kovalev was arrested in California for punching a woman in the face. The woman suffered a broken nose, a concussion, and a displaced disc in her neck. He was charged with assault likely to cause great bodily injury, which is a felony. He pleaded not guilty on 27 August 2018, and he was released on $50,000 bail. On 4 April 2019, Kovalev was held to answer for felony assault causing great bodily injury. The court found that there was enough evidence to proceed to trial on the felony charge. Kovalev was arraigned on 19 April 2019 and was also sued by the victim in San Bernardino County Superior Court. In January 2020, the accuser filed a new lawsuit against Kovalev in federal court in Los Angeles, alleging that the parties reached a $650,000 settlement in October 2019, but that Kovalev then breached the agreement by not making the agreed-upon payments. Because the original suit was not to be dismissed until Kovalev paid the entire $650,000, that suit also remained active. The victim voluntarily dismissed the breach of contract lawsuit in September 2020, but the original assault lawsuit remained pending and was set for trial beginning in January 2021. On October 2, 2020, 3 days before his felony assault trial was scheduled to begin, Kovalyov pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of fighting a noise offensive words and was sentenced to 3 years of probation and 2 days of time served. He was also required to complete an anger management course and pay court costs. A few weeks later, Kovalyov's accuser filed to dismiss her assault lawsuit. I appreciate your time and I'm grateful for every like, comment, and share.